In this video, we'll show you how to start a travel blog using WordPress. Whether you're vagabonding your way around a country or continent, learning a new language in an isolated town, or meandering through Travel and Leisure's top 100, you've likely got a story to tell. And with this step-by-step tutorial, we'll give you the tools to do it. For this tutorial, we'll be using WordPress to show you how to set up a travel blog in 2018 and 2019 that features an optimized UX design, is fully responsive, and SEO friendly. The blog you'll create would typically cost $2,000 to $3,000 if a pro was doing it for you. The great news is we'll teach you how to do it for less than $200, including your domain, hosting, premium WordPress theme, and images. In fact, we'll create this exact travel blog here. And rather than just give you a one-size-fits-all approach, we'll show you how you can easily use a different design or layout for your travel blog using a simple one-click install tool. You'll then be able to customize your blog with an intuitive drag-and-drop page builder so there's no coding or design prerequisite. Here are just a few examples of the designs you could choose. Regardless of whether you want a minimalistic travel blog, feminine travel blog, travel photography blog, travel magazine blog, or any other kind of travel blog, in this step-by-step tutorial, we'll show you how to create it. So, let's get to it. In the description below, you'll find links to discounts on hosting, your WordPress theme, as well as other resources mentioned in this tutorial. Some of these will be affiliate links and will help fund future free tutorials like this one, so we appreciate your support. For those who want to follow along, we've created a blog post that includes step-by-step instructions for this tutorial that you can access for free on the OHKLYN blog via the link in the description down below, or in the info card for this video. Here, you'll find the written instructions, access to free resources, and the live demo for this tutorial. We would recommend opening the blog post in a new tab and following along. For this tutorial, we will use the Soledad WordPress theme by Pensy Design. Via the description below and on the OHKLYN post here, you'll be able to access the theme as well as view the live demo. Similarly, to show you how to start your travel blog with WordPress, we suggest using Bluehost as your hosting provider with the link in the description below and on the OHKLYN post here. You'll be able to access discount hosting and a free domain name if you haven't purchased one already. We'll cover the steps on how to set this up shortly. If you've got your domain and hosting already, that's fine, you'll still be able to follow along. We recommend Bluehost as they provide great quality hosting at an affordable price, and they have an intuitive user dashboard. They will also automatically install WordPress for you and provide 24/7 support, making it the ideal option for beginners. As an affiliate partner, they'll also set aside a few dollars to help fund future free tutorials like this one. So, thanks for using the links provided. Okay, now that we're all on the same page, let's dig into it. The first step to starting a travel blog is preparation and planning. Here we'll cover the things to consider before getting started, some resources you might find useful, what you will need to start your travel blog in terms of branding assets, and an intro to blog and UX design. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make when starting a travel blog is they forget to begin with the end in mind. Unlike a journey that can be made more enjoyable with a little spontaneity and loose plans, when it comes to creating a travel blog, this is not the case at all. Before we start installing WordPress and creating posts, it's important to take a moment to define your target audience. Identify your niche and consider the things that will make your blog uniquely you and entice users to engage. During this process, it would be wise to define the objectives and goals for your blog, as this will have a significant impact on how you approach building your travel blog. For instance, your objective could be to grow subscribers to your newsletter, develop a community who engage with and share your content, grow your social media following, create a portfolio for guest blogging opportunities, make money via either an online store, affiliates, or advertising, or perhaps something entirely different. Whatever it is, make sure it's clear. In a moment, we'll go through blog and UX design and show you how to ensure you set yourself up for success. By now, you may have already decided on a name for your travel blog. However, if you haven't, on the OHKLYN post, there's a few things you should consider, such as, is the name unique and memorable? is it a name you can scale and grow with? The value of keeping the name of your travel blog as short as possible, and of course, making sure the domain name is available. To check if the domain name you want to use is available, follow the Check Domain Availability button on the OHKLYN post here. That will take you through to the Bluehost site. From here, hover over Hosting in the top menu and select Domain. From here, enter the domain name and choose the free domain extension you want. If your domain name is available, you will be taken to a page to review and purchase it. Alternatively, if it's not available, you'll be shown other options, or you will need to try something else. We'll cover off purchasing your hosting and securing your free domain name in the next step. As a side note, for those who want to make travel blogging a career, on the OHKLYN post here, we've added a link to the Superstar Blogging series from none other than travel blogging guru Matthew Kepnes, aka Nomadic Matt. The Nomadic Matt blog launched in 2008 and in a relatively short period of time was the #1 travel blog with over 1.3 million visitors per month. If you want to learn how Matt achieved that, we'd recommend checking out his blogging courses. Once you've decided on the name and objectives for your blog, it's time to put together the branding assets that you'll need to start your travel blog. The first of which is your logo. This is your main branding element, and as such, we would recommend getting a professional designer to work with you on putting this together. If you don't have access to a designer, you could use a service like Fiverr, Upwork, 99 Designs, or Freelancer to connect with someone who can help. If your budget doesn't permit hiring a designer, there are a number of free tools that you could use like Canva, Sketch.io, or even Google Drawings to put together a simple logo. We'll have tutorials on how to use these tools coming out soon, so subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified once they're released. We'll also add the links to these tutorials to the post for this tutorial, so keep an eye out for that. Your logo should be a PNG file with a transparent background so you can use it on multiple background colors. You should also have a full color, reversed, and black and white version of your logo. Similarly, having both a horizontal and a stacked or square version of your logo will give you a lot more flexibility. The next branding asset you need is a favicon, which is the icon that appears in the tab of the browser when a user visits your blog. This should also be a PNG file and will need to be square. Lastly, you need to choose your brand color palette. To add this to your blog, you'll need the hexadecimal color codes for each color. We'll show you how to customize your blog with your brand color or colors later in this tutorial. We recommend using a free tool like Adobe Color, Peloton.com, or color-hex.com to help find a cohesive color palette if you want to use more than one color. Once you've got your branding sorted, we can explore user experience, or UX, design for your travel blog. User experience design is the process of optimizing the layout for your blog and ultimately how users engage with your blog to drive desirable outcomes that help achieve your objectives, be it newsletter signups, sales, etc. For this tutorial, we'll use a premium theme that leverages an optimized UX design and includes sections for advertising, newsletter signups, and the ability for users to easily share content on social or engage with your social profiles. So, a lot of heavy lifting will already be done for you. All you need to do is decide on the overall structure of your blog. In terms of your blog architecture, it will be broken out into static pages. These are pages such as your homepage, contact page, or about page. Posts. These will be the individual blog posts that will make up the bulk of your blog's content. And category or archive pages, which is how you organize your individual blog posts. Each post will be grouped or assigned to a category or multiple categories. The other components of your blog will include a sidebar, if you decide to include one, a global footer, and your menu or navigation. First up, let's plan out the static pages that you'll be including in the blog. To help with this, it's best to take out a sheet of paper or open your favorite sketching tool to help visualize what your blog will look like. List or draw out the pages you want to include. Common pages include a homepage, about page, contact or work with me page, blog page if you want to be different from your homepage, privacy or terms of use page, etc. Once you've got an idea of the pages you want, go through each page and identify the content that you'll include on each page. It's often a good idea to sketch out a rough guide outlining where images or other media elements will go to accompany the copy you create. If this is new for you, paint in broad strokes for now. For your homepage specifically, view the live demos for the premium WordPress theme we'll use in this tutorial by following this button here on the OHKLYN post. Then go through the layouts and see if there's a certain layout that resonates with you. We'll use the Soledad travel layout here. However, you'll be able to use any layout you want. The good news is that if you don't want to use this theme, you can follow the link on the OHKLYN post here to read our best WordPress themes for travel blogs article and just as easily follow along with any of these WordPress themes or pretty much any other WordPress theme for that matter. We'll get into the specifics of choosing and uploading your WordPress theme shortly. In the Soledad travel example that we'll be using, you'll notice there's a number of header variations which change the position of the logo and navigation. Include or remove the header banner at the top, etc. Similarly, under the Features tab, you'll find that there are a number of pages that will come with pre-designed layouts that you can use as is or customize to suit your needs, such as an About page or Contact page. Under the Home tab for all the example layouts, you'll notice that there's a huge number of homepage layouts to choose from. We'd recommend exploring these to find the option you want where you're easily able to import and customize the layouts in the customization section of this tutorial that we'll be getting to shortly. Once you've got an idea of the static pages you want to include, it's time to think about the individual blog posts you'll want to include and the categories you'll use to group these on your blog. You'll also use categories as a tool for visitors to navigate your site. For popular travel blogs, common category groupings include destinations, such as regions with countries as subcategories, activities, types of travel, or interests, etc. A good approach here is to find a travel blog in a similar niche and analyze how they use categories to structure their content, as well as how they are used for navigation. The idea isn't to copy what someone else is doing, but to figure out what you think works well and how you can improve the experience of your blog. Once again, invest some time in the strategy side of planning out your blog content. By taking a moment to sketch out the sitemap of your blog, you'll find that you get a much better result. You may want to do some keyword research or use a tool like SEMrush, which we'll add a link to on the OHKLYN post here, to analyze a competitor and understand which of their posts are their most popular and driving the most traffic to their site. If learning how to drive organic traffic to your blog is important to you, we're recording an SEO for WordPress course at the moment, which will walk you through how to do this successfully. We took OHKLYN from 0 to 8K in organic monthly search traffic in 6 months using this strategy. So if that's of interest to you, you can pre-register at courses.ohlklyn.com. We'll upload the beginner's guide to our YouTube channel shortly, so subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep an eye out for that. Alternatively, as mentioned earlier, you can follow the link on the OHKLYN post here to Nomadic Matt's travel blogging course, which covers similar information dedicated to the travel blogging niche. The last decision you'll need to make is whether or not you want to include a sidebar on your travel blog, which is the section of the page here. You will have the option to include this on some or all static pages, individual posts, and category or archive pages. In the customization section of this tutorial, we'll walk you through how to customize the content within the sidebar. As you can see in this example, you can include things such as a bio, social links or feeds, newsletter sign-up section, banner ads, recent post snippets, and navigational elements, so consider which of these you want to include. You can also disable the sidebar if you don't want to include one. The reason we chose the premium WordPress theme that we did for this tutorial is because we love the design and its versatility. So we'll keep the design pretty much the same. In terms of our site structure and layout, here's a chart with a breakdown of our primary navigation and footer navigation. The pages we'll include on our blog are the homepage, about, contact, disclosure, and privacy policy. Similarly, we'll use 3 top-level categories to group all of our blog posts. These are destinations, travel tips, and activities with 4 subcategories under each category. We'll also create a 4th top-level category called Featured, which we'll use to select the posts we want to feature in our slider. but won't be included in our navigation menu. Obviously, make these unique to you, or model them off another blog that you think does this well. You can have as many or as few as you like, and these can evolve over time. Okay, so there's a lot to consider, but hopefully you're still with us and you can see the value as to why it makes sense to think about all those things before jumping in to starting your travel blog. Let us know in the comments below if you've got any questions or if you have any feedback so far. We'll now move on to securing your domain, setting up hosting, and installing WordPress. So, very shortly, you'll have your new travel blog set up. Even if you haven't got all the planning locked down as yet, you can still follow along so that your blog is at least up and running, and you can then move along at your own pace. If you haven't already, the first step is to register your domain, set up your website hosting account, and install WordPress for your travel blog. So, we're all on the same page. Let us quickly explain what they are. Your domain, or URL, is the web address for your website and is what users will type into their browsers to access your site. For OHKLYN, it's OHKLYN, OHKLYN.com. Pick something that works for you. Hosting is what allows your website to be accessible to users 24/7. It's the process of storing the content and data of your website on a web server and serving it to users. For this tutorial, we'll walk you through getting started with Bluehost, as we believe it's the best option for beginners. So let's go through the steps for setting up hosting for your blog and registering your free domain with Bluehost. Here's a list of the types of domains that are included for free, the most common being a .com or .co. If you've already purchased your domain or you want to purchase an alternative top-level domain, such as something relevant to your niche or a country-specific domain like .co.uk or .com.au, you can purchase that domain through a registrar like GoDaddy, Crazy Domains, or any other domain registrar. We'll add some links below. If you go with that option, or if you've already secured your domain name, all you need to do then is change what's called the domain name servers to point at Bluehost, which will be your new hosting provider. Fortunately, we have written an article and a step-by-step guide on how to do this, which you can access here. To get started, follow the Bluehost link in the description below, or if you're on the OHKLYN website, follow this button here. We'll then click on Get Started Now. You'll then select the plan that's right for you. If you intend to have just the one domain, then the first option will be fine. Alternatively, if you want to have multiple domains on the one hosting account like we do, then you'll need to select one of the other plans. You can always amend this down the track. The great thing with Bluehost is that you get a 30-day money-back guarantee on any plan, so you can get started risk-free. For this example, we'll select the first option. To get your free domain name, you'll enter the desired domain name for your website into the New Domain field and select the domain extension you want, for example, .com, and hit Next. If the domain name isn't available, you'll get an error message and will need to either select an alternate domain name, try to contact the owner of the domain to purchase it from them, or select another top-level domain extension. If you've already purchased your domain name, enter your domain in the Transfer Domain field and select Next. Remember to review the article on how to change the DNS records to point at Bluehost. To set up your hosting account, enter in the required account information. In the Package Information section, choose your desired hosting term and domain add-on preferences. We recommend selecting Domain Privacy Protection so that the personal information that's associated to your domain isn't publicly available. This is optional, of course. Once you've entered in the required information, add your payment details, review the terms, and select Submit. Once you've done that, you'll be taken to this page here. You would have been sent a confirmation email to the designated email address on the account, as well as the WHOIS verification email. Follow the link in that email to verify the email associated to your new domain. You will need to create a password for your hosting account. To do that, click on Create Your Password. Make sure to pick a secure password. You could use the Suggested Password tool to help you with this. Once you've entered in your password, review the terms of use and select Next. You will then be able to log into your Bluehost dashboard. As part of the new Bluehost offering, WordPress will automatically be installed on your new domain. If you've registered your domain elsewhere, you'll need to amend the DNS records to point at Bluehost and install WordPress using the Bluehost one-click WordPress install. For the steps on how to do this, review our article on the OHKLYN blog. You can follow this link on the tutorial post here. You can choose to install one of the free pre-selected WordPress themes on your domain. However, with WordPress themes, you typically get what you pay for. As premium themes are regularly updated when WordPress changes, they're often more secure. They provide you with access to support as well as a greater range of design and customization options. So for this tutorial, we'll use a premium WordPress theme and select Skip this step. WordPress will now be installed on your domain. To access the back end of your WordPress website, click Start Building. This will prompt a guided tour, which you can choose to run through or not. We'll go through this in our tutorial, so we'll click on I don't need help. This will take you to the Bluehost tab within the back end of your WordPress site. To access your WordPress dashboard, click on Dashboard in the menu on the left. There will be a number of notifications that you can action or dismiss by clicking on the X in the top right corner. You can amend what's visible on your dashboard by clicking on the Screen Options drop-down in the top right and checking or unchecking the boxes. A number of additional plugins will be installed. You can view these by hovering over Plugins in the Admin menu on the left and selecting Installed Plugins. In addition to the standard WordPress plugins, Bluehost will install a few other plugins like Jetpack, Mojo Marketplace, etc. You can leave these active or choose to deactivate and delete these plugins. We'll leave this up to you. We'll delete ours, as we like to use as few plugins as possible. This can be done in bulk by selecting the checkbox next to the plugin, choosing Deactivate from the Bulk Actions drop-down, and then clicking Apply. We'll then delete all the selected plugins by selecting them and hitting Delete. Then return back to the WordPress dashboard. If we enter our domain name into a browser, we'll see that WordPress is now installed. Congratulations! You officially have a new travel blog. It's not much at the moment, but you're a lot closer than you realize. As part of this process, we'll provide a link to our video on how to set up your free SSL certificate, which will encrypt the data on your blog. This is best practice as it improves the security on your blog, allows you to take payments on your site, and will improve your Google rankings. Okay, we've covered preparation, as well as registering your domain, setting up hosting, and installing WordPress. We can now move on to step number 3. Whenever you want to log into your WordPress blog, enter your domain and add /wp-admin to the end, such as example.com/wp-admin. Then enter your username and password, which was set up in the prior step. You'll then be taken to your WordPress dashboard. We've installed WordPress in a development environment. It's a clean WordPress install, so it should look the same. However, if it's slightly different, don't worry. The fundamentals will all be the same. We would recommend installing a Coming Soon plugin so you can launch your site properly once you're ready for the world to see it. We'll add a link to a video on how to do this in the description below. For similar videos and tips as you build out your website, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the videos section of our channel. The WordPress dashboard or admin panel is broken down into 3 main sections. At the top, we have the WordPress toolbar. The menu or admin menu is located on the left-hand side, and the main admin area is in the middle, where we'll do most of our work. We'll give you a brief overview of each section now. However, for a more detailed overview, watch our free How to Use WordPress tutorial, which is an introduction to WordPress for beginners. This is intended to get you up to speed on the fundamentals of how WordPress works in about an hour. The WordPress toolbar at the top is dynamic and adjusts the available options depending on which page you're on, and if you're viewing the page from the front or back end. The admin menu located to the left of your dashboard is separated into 3 main sections. These are the Dashboard section, the Content Management section, and the Site Administration section. The Dashboard section provides easy access to the dashboard, updates, and additional plugin features. The content management section is where you create and manage posts, pages, media items, comments, and additional plugin features. The site administration section is where you configure the design and appearance settings for your website, including selecting the active theme for your website, creating and managing menus, widgets, and customizing your website's theme. It's also where we manage plugins, users, control global WordPress settings, and activated theme and plugin extensions like SEO, social sharing, theme-specific settings, and security. We'll go through some practical examples for each of these in the coming sections once we upload our theme and start working with content. However, one thing we recommend doing before we move on is updating the permalink structure for your website. This will impact how your URL strings will be created for pages, posts, etc. To do this, hover over Settings in the admin menu. This is where you'll manage your global WordPress settings. We covered these in detail in our How to Use WordPress tutorial. Then select Permalinks. The default option leverages a more journal approach, featuring the date in the permalink. However, the more common option, and what we'd recommend from an SEO and UX perspective, is post name. This will set the page or post title as the URL, so we'll select that option and save our changes. You can learn more about each option under the Help tab and choose the best option for you. We recommend doing this before you start creating content so that your URLs are created the way you want. Also, if you want to update your user profile or add users to your website, you can do this by hovering over Users in the admin menu on the left and selecting from the options here. Alright, moving on. The menu is fully responsive, meaning that as the screen size gets smaller, the menu adjusts to remain accessible on all types of devices. Lastly, the main admin area serves as our primary workspace and adjusts depending on what's selected from the admin menu. We'll draw your attention to the Screen Options tab in the top right corner. When you open this tab, you'll see a list of options and features that are available for display depending on which page you're on. Similarly, the Help tab on the right shows you helpful hints for the page that you're on, as well as links to relevant documentation. Once again, for a detailed walkthrough of WordPress, we recommend watching our How to Use WordPress tutorial. Okay, now that we've touched on the fundamentals of WordPress, let's move on to choosing and uploading your WordPress theme. A WordPress theme is a group of files that work with the underlying WordPress software to enhance the design and functionality of your WordPress website. For a more detailed overview, check out our What is a WordPress Theme article on the OHKLYN blog. There are both free and premium themes that you can use for your website. The main benefits of using a premium theme is enhanced security, access to support, the inclusion of more extensive theme documentation or instructions, extended functionality, and access to demo content and pre-built layouts, which for around $50 to $100 is great value. Premium support packages can cost $50 a month, so the fact that this is included in a premium theme makes it a smart investment. On the OHKLYN blog, we've analyzed hundreds, if not thousands, of WordPress themes based on speed, design, ease of use, mobile responsiveness, and functionality, which you can access via the WordPress Theme Reviews category on the OHKLYN blog. For this tutorial, we'll use our top-rated travel blog theme, Soledad by Pensy Design, to access the theme and any discounts when they're available from the OHKLYN post. Click on this button here. This will take you through to ThemeForest, which is one of the largest premium WordPress theme marketplaces. From here, click on Buy Theme to purchase a copy of the Soledad WordPress theme for a once-off fee. Then go to Checkout to finalize your purchase. If you haven't got a ThemeForest account, you will need to create one. Add your billing information. Then select your payment method. Once you've done that, you will then be able to download the theme files. From within your profile, head to Downloads. Next to the Soledad theme, click on Download and select All Files and Documentation. If we unzip the ThemeForest file that we downloaded, within that, you'll see soledad.zip, which is the WordPress theme file. Leave this unzipped as we'll upload this to WordPress directly. There's also a file called soledad-child.zip, which you can use if you want to use a child theme. To use a child theme, you will need to upload the soledad.zip file first and then the soledad -child.zip. There is an article on the OHKLYN blog explaining what a child theme is if you want more information on that. The last thing we'll draw your attention to is the documentation folder, which includes an index.html file. If you open this file, it will take you through to the online theme documentation and video tutorials for Soledad. If you decide to go with a different premium theme, they will most likely have something similar. We'll keep this open as it is a resource we will continually come back to. Let's move on to uploading our WordPress theme. For this, let's review our theme documentation. Firstly, there is some information on the fonts used, and below that is the installation instructions. As it states here, we can install WordPress via the WordPress dashboard or via FTP. We'll go with the WordPress option. To upload and install your WordPress theme, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance in the admin menu on the left and select Themes. From here, select Add New. Then click Upload Theme. Select Choose File. Navigate to the .zip file you downloaded earlier and select Open. In our case, it's the soledad.zip file. If you're using a different theme, find the theme.zip file. Click Install Now. This will start the process to upload and install. Once the theme is successfully installed, click Activate and your new theme will now be live on your website. If you want to install the child theme, follow the same process. The first thing we need to do is install and activate any plugins that are required by the WordPress theme we've just installed. In this case, we'll see a notification at the top of the page. To do this, click on Begin Installing Plugin. We'll bulk select the required plugins and click Install. That will install the required plugins. This may take a minute. We'll check the status, then click on the option to Return to Required Plugins Installer. To activate the plugins we have just installed, bulk select the plugins and select Activate. Once any required plugins are activated, we can return to the dashboard. You'll notice that a few new tabs have been created in the admin menu on the left. As per the theme documentation, before we install the demo content, we need to make sure the Your Homepage displays is set to show your latest posts. To do this, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Settings in the admin menu and select Reading. From there, confirm that the settings are correct and save changes if required. If you're using a different theme, be sure to follow the theme documentation to ensure you install the theme and plugins correctly. Like many premium WordPress themes, Soledad is compatible with Visual Composer, which is a drag-and-drop page builder plugin. This isn't a required plugin, however, it is included with this theme. If you want to use a visual page builder, then you will need to upload and install this plugin. To do this, open the folder that you unzipped before, then head to the Plugins folder. In here, you'll find the file called visual_composer.zip. This is the plugin that we'll upload via your WordPress dashboard. There is no need to unzip this file. To upload and install this plugin, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Plugins and choose Add New. Select Upload Plugin. Then click Choose File and navigate to the visual_composer.zip file and select Open. Then click Install Now. Once it's finished uploading, select Activate Plugin. And that's it. You'll now be able to use Visual Composer to create custom page layouts. In the documentation guide here, there's a video on how to use Visual Composer. We'll go through a practical example of this shortly. If you want to use the Revolution slider plugin that comes with the Soledad theme, you'll just need to follow the same process to upload, install, and activate the plugin. Okay, let's move on to customizing your blog. By now, your WordPress travel blog will be set up correctly with your WordPress theme, installed along with any required plugins. We can now start customizing your travel blog to suit your style. The first thing we'll do is bring in the demo content from the live preview that resonates most with you. On the OHKLYN post here, you can follow the button to review the available options. What we'll do in this section is show you how to import the demo content via the one-click demo content importer. We'll also look at how to upload your logo and branding elements, how to update the theme settings, how to create pages, posts, and categories, how to update the menu and navigation, how to update the sidebar, how to update the footer, and lastly, how to delete the demo content you don't want to use. As per the theme documentation, there are two options for importing the demo content. The first option is to import the full demo content. The second is to import the customization settings only. As it suggests, if you've got existing content on your WordPress site, use the second option and follow the instructions here. If it's a new blog, then you can use either option. Because we want to bring in all the demo content, we'll use option 1. To import the demo content from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Import Demo Data. If you don't see this option, make sure you've installed the required plugins. From there, scroll through and select the demo example that you want to import. In our case, we'll scroll down to the travel option, then select Import to start the process. This is uploading a huge amount of data, so give this a few minutes for it to import all the content. You may want to pause the video while the content is uploaded, as this can take up to 5 minutes or so. Once you see the Import Completed message, hover over your site name in the toolbar at the top left and select Visit Site. You will see that the demo content is all imported, and you're now very close to having your very own travel blog. We now just need to go and customize it with your brand elements and replace the content with your own. Let's start with uploading your logo and other brand elements. One of the things we like about this theme is that the customization options are built into the native WordPress theme customizer. While we're not going to go through every theme setting, we'll cover the ones that will be important to most people, and for everything else, there's the theme documentation and videos. To access the customization settings from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Customize. From here, you're able to customize almost every inch of your travel blog. On the left-hand side are your theme customization options, and on the right is the live preview panel, which features your homepage. As you make changes on the left, you will be able to preview these in real time via the panel on the right. We'll go through a number of the customization options together. However, we encourage you to go through all the options and play around with the various settings. You can follow the link here to view the theme documentation, which will cover off any of the settings options we miss. From here, you can also follow the link to submit a support ticket if there's anything that's unclear. Depending on which demo example you imported, the settings may be slightly different. However, you'll still be able to follow along. Similarly, if you've selected a different theme to use, you'll be best to follow along with the theme documentation for your specific theme. However, we'll cover off the fundamentals of updating widgets, menus, and creating pages and posts, which will be very similar. The first thing we'll want to update is our logo, favicon, and set our brand accent color, which for our case will be a teal color with a hexadecimal color code of #1FBDCA. To upload our logo, we'll navigate to the Logo and Header Options tab. You'll notice that this theme supports a number of logo types and sizes, which gives you more control over the appearance of your logo on various devices. You can also set a maximum width for your logo, as well as adding padding or space to the top and bottom. Select Change Image. This takes you to your WordPress media library, which is where all the media you upload to your site will live. You can either select an image to use as your logo or upload your logo via either dragging your logo in or by selecting Upload Files, clicking on Select Files, and uploading your logo that way. Whenever you upload images to your blog, it's a good idea to add an alt text, which adds metadata to your image and, amongst other benefits, can be a positive thing from an on-page SEO perspective. To set your logo, select Choose Image. Repeat the process to update the various sizing options for your logo or remove the other options. For simplicity, we'll remove the alternate size logos by clicking Remove, and we'll set our max logo width to half the width of our original logo size. Given our logo file is 600 px wide, we'll set a max logo width of 300 px, which will suit this design and avoid our logo pixelating or appearing larger than we want. Further, down in this section, you're able to amend the header and menu style for your blog. For example, you could go with a centered option like this one, or any of the other options featured here. But have a play around to see which option you like best. Below that are a number of typography options that will have an impact on your design. Once again, have a look through the various options here and decide what works for you. Under the font options is where you can manage the banner that's featured in the header. Here, you can either upload a static banner and customize the link. Alternatively, you could paste your Google AdSense code here if you want to monetize and incorporate advertising on your blog. You've then got the ability to disable the sticky header, which is the navigation panel that sticks to the top of the browser as the user scrolls down the page like this. There's also options for including social media icons in the header and main navigation, depending on what your preference is there. Lastly, at the bottom of this section, you can amend a number of the settings related to menu items, as well as the ability to add custom code to the head tag of your blog pages, which can be used for adding Google Analytics code, etc. We recommend revisiting this tab at the end of this tutorial and once all your content is uploaded, as these options will be more relevant. Whenever you make changes via the theme customizer, remember to publish your changes to commit them. We'll select Publish, then head back to the main customization panel. The next thing we'll do is add our favicon. For this, we'll go to the General Options tab, and where it says Upload Favicon, we'll click Select Image. Either select your favicon from the media library, or upload your favicon file by following the same process you used to upload your logo beforehand. Once your favicon is there, give it an alt text, and then select Choose Image. If you publish the changes, navigate to your homepage and refresh the page. You'll notice that your logo is there, and the favicon you added is now in the tab window at the top. If we head back to the General Options tab within the Customizer, this is where you'll be able to make significant changes to the appearance of your blog. For example, if you want to set a background color, image, or texture for your blog, you'll be able to do that here. Below that, you can amend the homepage layout with respect to the posts that are featured here. This layout will be different depending on which demo example you went with. For ours, it's set to the first classic then list option, which, if we scroll through, we have the classic post at the top here, followed by a list of our recent posts. If we change this to first classic then grid and wait for that to update, you'll see that this has changed the layout for our homepage posts. We'll change it back to the default for this design. In regards to the other homepage layout options, you'll control the slider at the top in the Featured Slider Options tab and the feature boxes here via the Homepage Options tab, which we'll cover in the next section. Below that is the option to amend the layout in respect to posts on the category or archive pages, etc. To show what this is referring to, let's head to the homepage of the blog. If we click the category for one of our posts, it will take us through to this page here. This is what's referred to as an archive page, as it archives all the posts related to this specific category. To provide a practical example, you might add your categories to your menu to help users navigate to sections of your blog that appeal to them. When the user clicks on that link, they will be taken through to this page for the category they select. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's head back to the Theme Customizer. This section here is where you'll control the layout for your category archive pages, as well as tag archive pages, if you use tags, and the search results page. In our example, as you can see here, it's set to first standard, then grid. Have a look through the available options to see what works best for you. Once again, you've got the ability to add Google AdSense code to your travel blog's archive or category pages, as well as a number of additional visual and navigation options, such as the ability to enable a Load More button or infinite scroll on the homepage. Enable or disable the page navigation numbers. Or include a custom sidebar on the homepage, category pages, individual post pages, or static pages. We'll get to how to update sidebars later in this tutorial. Okay, so you're probably starting to see why we love this theme as much as we do. The number of customization options and the ease in which you can tailor your travel blog to suit your style is incredible. Let's head back to the main customization panel and take a look at how we can add your brand colors to customize your blog even further. For this, we'll scroll down to the bottom of the theme customizer. You'll notice that there is a tab called Colors General and a number of other color-related tabs below that. Here is where you'll have full control over all the colors featured on your blog. We recommend investing some time going through all these options in detail, particularly if you have multiple brand colors, complements, or shades that you want to incorporate. We'll keep this pretty simple and replace the featured color, which is this one here, with our brand color of #1FBDCA. To do this, we'll go into the Colors General tab. Where it says Accent Colors, we'll set this to our brand color of #1FBDCA by clicking on the Color tab and pasting in our hexadecimal color code. You could also pick a color using the Color Picker tool. Publish changes, then head back to the Primary Customizer tab. We'll go through the rest of these tabs and do the same thing, starting with the Colors for Homepage and Home Title Box options. Obviously, there's a huge number of customization options within these sections, so take some time to go through all the options. We're just replacing the default bottle green color so that you can see how this works. Remember to publish changes as you go. Next is the colors for top bar. Once again, we'll just update the default color with our example brand color of #1FBDCA, leaving all the other colors and settings as is. Remember to publish changes as you go. We'll go ahead and do this for the remaining color tabs and then skip ahead to once we're done. Okay, so as you can see, we've updated all the accent colors to our new example brand color. It will take a bit of time to go through and adjust all the color settings to align with your brand, but the good news is that it's all managed from one place, which is great, particularly if you change your mind later. In the next few sections, we'll go through how to add content to your blog in terms of posts, pages, and categories, as well as show you how to update the sidebar, footer, and navigation elements of your site. For now, we'll take a quick look at how you can customize your blog using the theme settings. Once you've added all your content in, we'd recommend that you come back to this section, as you may want to tweak a few of these options. So far, we've looked at the general options, homepage options, and the logo and header options. We're not going to go into all of the theme settings tabs. However, we'll cover those that are the most important. Firstly, the top bar options tab is fairly self-explanatory. Here you can opt to enable the top bar for your site, which can be used to highlight featured posts, as well as links to your social media profiles. We'll enable this feature for our example, and you can now see the top bar here. As you can see, there are a number of settings available that will give you more control over what's displayed. Next is the Social Media Options tab. Here, you will add the full URL links, including the HTTP or HTTPS part of the URL, for each of your social media profiles. The theme will use these values to link to your social accounts in all the sections where social links or icons can be added. Hashtags, as you can see here, are used as placeholders, so remember to remove these for the social accounts you don't want to feature in your social media sections. For example, we'll add the links to the OHKLYN Facebook page, the OHKLYN Instagram account, and the OHKLYN YouTube channel. We'll remove everything else. As you can see, our top bar has been updated with our relevant social media profiles. And if we scroll down to the bottom, the social icons in the footer have been updated as well. You may have noticed that the sidebar Keep in Touch section hasn't been updated. We'll need to uncheck the icons we want removed in the Soledad social media widget, which we'll cover off in our section on how to update the WordPress sidebar. Let's take a look at the Featured Slider Options tab. Here you can either enable or disable the slider, as well as if you want this to feature on all pages, which in this case would include all posts as well. We would recommend leaving lazy load images enabled, as it will reduce the initial page load time. Below that is a huge number of slider styles for you to explore and decide on. Once again, take a moment to go through the options if you intend to incorporate a slider on your blog. Below that is where you control what is included in your slider. Here, you can choose the number of slides you want to include and the transition speeds. By default, it will bring in the most recent posts. However, you can choose to feature only a specific category, or you could even create a featured category that you could assign and remove from post when you want to feature them in your slider. At the bottom, you can control what's included in your slider in terms of the post date, category, etc. Let's head back to the main customization menu. If we click into the Featured Video Background Options tab, here you can add a featured video using a YouTube URL that will be added below the navigation by enabling this option. For example, we'll drop this link in. As it says, videos aren't supported on mobile and tablet, so you'll need to add a default image for mobile and tablet. Below that, you're able to set the video height, set the start point, and enable the audio, as well as add image and text overlays. We'll disable this option for now and head back to the main menu. Next is the Standard and Classic Layouts option. This tab allows you to control the elements on your pages or archive pages, where you've specified one of the standard or classic layouts. What does that mean? Well, if you remember back in the General Options tab, our design was using the homepage layout of First Classic Then List, which we set here. You'll notice that the options here include Classic, Standard, List, Boxed, Grid, etc. This is what the Standard and Classic Layouts options is referring to. If we head back to the Standard and Classic Layouts option, within here you can hide the social sharing icons, post thumbnails, post categories, post author, post date, etc., as well as control the capitalization of post titles and categories. Okay, let's head back. In the Other Layouts Options tab, you'll have similar options. You have the same controls for the grid, masonry, list, and boxed layouts. Take some time to go through these options and see which settings you want to use. The Single Post Options tab gives you full control over the settings for individual posts. Some of these options will look similar to those on the last two tabs, with the addition of more post-specific options, such as options related to captioning, block quotes, comments, as well as the ability to add Google AdSense code, just to name a few. In addition to the main styling options we covered, there is also the page options for static pages, footer options, which we'll come back to later, 404 page options, which is for the page that users land on when they enter a URL that can't be found. Portfolio options are for those wanting to include a portfolio on their site. WooCommerce options are there if you want to include a store as part of your blog. For this, you'll need to install the free WooCommerce plugin first. There are also a number of other customization options which may not be as relevant for this tutorial, but feel free to explore these as you go through. Anytime you make changes to your theme settings via the Theme Customizer, remember to click Publish to commit your changes. Next, we'll move on to how to create pages and posts in WordPress. We'll start by creating the pages we need for our blog. If we refer back to our blog structure document, we can see that the pages we need to create are our homepage, About, Contact, Disclosure, and Privacy Policy page. In regards to our homepage, we're going to use the default Latest Posts page as our homepage. However, if you want to create a different page and set it as your homepage, there's a video in the documentation which shows you how to recreate one of the page layouts using the Visual Composer plugin. You can find the video and steps in the homepage section of the documentation here. Similarly, we've added a link to a Visual Composer tutorial on the OHKLYN post here, for those who want to create custom layouts of any of the pages on their blog. Once you've created the page you want to use as your homepage, you'll need to set it as your homepage by hovering over Settings in the Admin menu and selecting Reading. From there, under Your Homepage Displays option, you'll select a static page, and then select the page you want to set as your homepage from the Homepage dropdown. Remember to save your changes if you want to set a static homepage. In our case, we'll select the default Your Latest Posts option and head back to our WordPress dashboard. In WordPress, the pages for your blog will be managed under Pages in the Admin menu. By hovering over Pages, you can either view all pages or add a new page. Let's click on All Pages for now. If you've imported the demo content, you'll notice that there's a number of pages that have already been created. Toward the end of this tutorial, we'll go through and show you how to delete all the content you don't want. For our purposes, we'll use the Contact Me and About Me pages that have already been created. However, we'll remove the Me and update these to just Contact and About. To edit an existing page, either click the page title or hover over the page title and click Edit. We'll edit the About Me page to remove the Me. We'll go through all these settings shortly in both the Classic editor and the new Gutenberg editor, but for now, we'll just edit the page title by removing Me. Then we'll update the permalink to just About. Remember, if you change a permalink or URL after you have published a post once your blog is live, you'll need to add what's called a 301 redirect from the old URL to the new URL. This is to avoid Google having crawl errors or 404 page not found errors. The best way to do this is with a plugin like Simple 301 Redirect or something similar. We'll update the contact page in a similar way and skip ahead. Okay, let's move on to creating new pages. To create a new page, hover over Pages in the Admin menu and select Add New. The first thing we'll do is give our page a title, in this case, Disclosure. When you click out of the title field, you'll notice that the permalink is automatically created for you. If you selected Post Name as your permalink structure earlier, then the page title will be used to create the URL for this page. If you want to edit the permalink, click on Edit and update the permalink or URL for this page. We're expecting the first major WordPress update to WordPress 5.0 later in the year. It's rumored that this will feature the new editing experience named Gutenberg. If you're new to WordPress, we recommend watching our How to Use WordPress tutorial as we cover the default WordPress options available when creating pages in more detail, and we'll update this to reflect any progressive WordPress updates so that you always have the latest information. We'll show you both versions in this tutorial. If you've installed the Visual Composer plugin, you'll have the option to use either the front-end or back-end editor, or the classic WordPress editor, as this will just be a disclosure page with text. We'll just use the default WordPress editor. As per the classic WordPress editor, on the right-hand side you have your preview and publishing options at the top. Below that is the Page Attributions tab where you can assign a parent page and access the default page templates for this theme. If you want to use the Visual Composer, you'll need to select one of the Page VC templates from the drop-down menu here. If you want to create a page with a sidebar like those in the demo, you'll select the Page with Sidebar template option, which is what we'll use for this page. Below that, you can add a feature image to the page by clicking Set Feature Image and by either choosing an image from the media library or uploading a new one. In the center of the page is the classic content editor, which has a visual editor that provides a live preview and the text editor, which allows you to add HTML directly. Below that is the Page Options panel, which gives you more control over how your page is displayed. If you're watching this after the WordPress 5.0 update, if Gutenberg is alive and well, your dashboard will look similar to this. Okay, so we've just temporarily installed the Gutenberg plugin and disabled the Visual Composer plugin to recreate what the new default editor will look like in the rumored update. You'll notice that unlike the classic WordPress editor, Gutenberg utilizes blocks, which makes creating content via the default WordPress editor a lot easier. If you click on the page title at the top, you're able to update the page name and edit the permalink. To add new content, you simply click on the plus icon and select the block you want to add, such as an image, paragraph, heading, etc. We'll add a couple of paragraph blocks. You can also select layout elements such as buttons or columns, as well as widgets. Or embed things such as YouTube videos or other third-party content. You're also able to rearrange content by clicking on the Move Up or Move Down toggle next to each content block. While the panel on the right looks different and is more dynamic, you'll notice that the options remain very similar. Check out our How to Use WordPress video for a detailed tutorial on using the latest version of the WordPress editor. We'll revert back to the classic editor for now. We'll paste in some demo content to fill out our page. When you're ready to publish your page, select Publish in the top right. Pause the video and go through and create the pages you want to include on your blog. We'll create the privacy page as per our initial blog structure map. Don't worry if you don't have all the content and structure organized yet. Remember, paint in broad strokes. Now, let's take a quick look at how to create blog posts and categories in WordPress. For the most part, you'll create blog posts the same way you created pages by hovering over posts and selecting Add New. The only difference being that you'll need to set up categories first by hovering over posts and selecting categories. Here is where you'll add the blog categories that you'll assign your blog posts to by entering the category name and selecting Add New Category. If we quickly look at our site layout map, we'll set up the parent categories of destinations, travel tips, and activities, with 4 subcategories underneath each parent. And we'll also create our featured category. For example, we'll add the category of travel tips by entering travel tips in the name field. You can create a custom slug, which is just a URL-friendly version of the category without capital letters or spaces. If you leave this blank, one will be created for you. As this is a parent category, we'll leave the parent category options set to none. You can add an optional description, which may be visible on the front end of your blog depending on your theme. We'll leave this blank and select Add New Category. You'll see this creates a new category in our category list on the right. To add a subcategory of solo travel, we'll add this to our name field. Leave the slug blank, but select Travel Tips as the parent category. Then select Add New Category. You'll see that our new category has been added as a subcategory of travel tips. Repeat this process for all the categories you want to include in your blog. We'll pause the video and create the rest of our categories. Remember, a blog post can be assigned to multiple categories. If you want, you can delete the categories that have been imported in the demo content. The posts assigned to these categories won't be deleted, but rather they'll be assigned to uncategorized. In the next section, we'll show you how to create and assign blog posts to categories. Okay, so we've created our categories and deleted the categories that were created with the demo content that we didn't want to use. You'll see that our blog category structure now matches the blog site map slide we created earlier. Once you've created your categories, we now need to create a new blog post. To do this, hover over Posts in the admin menu and select Add New. Whether you're using Gutenberg or the classic editor, this may look slightly different. However, the process will be the same. Add your blog post title, then your content. If you're using the classic editor, it will look like this. Either way, select the category or categories for the post on the right-hand side. Assign a feature image by clicking on the Set Feature Image option on the right-hand side. You can either upload an image or select one from the media library. If required, review the Post/Page options at the bottom. Then preview or publish your post. One thing worth mentioning is the concept of post types. These aren't supported by all themes, however, they are supported by Soledad. These change how your post is featured on archive pages, depending on what type of content is the feature of a post. For example, a video, image gallery, audio, etc. You can view an example of what we mean on the demo sites here. If you want to include tags as a way of grouping content on your blog, you can manage these in a similar way to categories by hovering over Posts in the admin menu and selecting Tags. Lastly, if we navigate back to the home page, if you want to amend the amount of the feature article that's visible here, you can do this by adding a Read More tag. For example, if we click into the featured article on the home page and edit this from the back end, by moving where the Read More tag is located in the article, you'll be able to increase or decrease the amount of the article that's featured. So you can see what we mean, we'll change its position in the article and update the page. If we refresh the home page, you'll see that has now updated. On the OHKLYN post here, we've added a link to a detailed video on how to create and format blog posts in WordPress for those who want a little more guidance. For the other posts, lists, and grids that are being truncated, you'll be able to amend the length of the excerpt via the Theme Customizer. Similarly, for more info on anything we've missed, remember to review the theme documentation. Now, if we hover over Posts in the admin menu and select All Posts, you'll see that the newly created post is there, along with all the other posts that were created when we imported the demo content. You'll see that a number of the posts have the category of uncategorized. At the end of this tutorial, we'll go through and delete all the posts you don't want to use, but for now, we'll just reassign the posts to our newly created categories so that we can maintain the structure of the blog until you have enough of your own content and are ready to go live. To do this, you can either click on the post name and edit it in the same environment where we created the post earlier. Alternatively, we can make quick edits by hovering over the post title and selecting Quick Edit. There are limited things you can edit, however. This can be a useful shortcut. To change the category, we'll simply uncheck the old category in the category box and select the new category we want to assign. As we mentioned before, you can assign a post to multiple categories if it makes sense to do so. We'll go through this list of posts here and assign the uncategorized posts to our newly created categories and make sure we've got at least one post assigned to each category. We'd recommend you do the same. Pause the video and create any of the remaining pages, posts, and categories you want to include on your blog prior to launch. Next, we'll move on to how to update the navigation and menu using the site structure map we created earlier. By now, you should have roughly created the pages, posts, and categories for your travel blog. Don't be concerned if you're not 100% sure on the exact structure. Remember, broad strokes. What we'll do now is create the menu structure for your blog so you can easily navigate around your blog while you continue to finalize your layouts and content. Menus in WordPress are created and managed in the dedicated Menus section, which you can access by hovering over Appearance in the admin menu and selecting Menus. The Menus page has two tabs at the top, Edit Menus and Manage Locations. As you can manage the menu locations within the Edit Menus tab as well, we'll primarily focus there. If you imported the demo content, you'll be able to select one of the pre-created menus from the drop-down lists by choosing the menu you want and hitting Select. On the left, you have the available content that you can add to your menu, such as pages, posts, custom links, categories, etc. To add more options, click on the Screen Options tab at the top and check the boxes next to the elements you want to add to your menu, for example, tags. Under Screen Options, you can also enable the ability to set the link target for a menu item, which means whether the link opens in a new tab or not, as well as assign CSS classes, which is slightly more advanced than what we'll cover today. However, if you're interested in learning some HTML and CSS fundamentals for WordPress, register for one of our courses at courses.OHKLYN.com. Back to the menu options. On the right, you have your menu structure. And the menu settings at the bottom is where you'll manage the location where this specific menu will be displayed. Rather than edit an existing menu, let's go through the steps of how to create a new menu and assign it as our main menu. To create a new menu, click on Create a New Menu. Enter a name for the menu. This is for your reference. We'll name ours Main Menu, then select Create Menu. At the bottom of the page, select where you want this specific menu to be displayed. In our case, we'll select Primary Menu. To add menu items to your menu, select the elements from the left, then click Add to Menu. For this example, we'll refer back to our blog site map and recreate the structure. Here we can see that we have our three top-level categories of destinations, travel tips, and activities as our three top-level navigation items, with their respective subcategories featured within. We can do this in a couple of ways as either a mega menu or a classic tiered menu. To do this, from the Categories drop-down on the left, we'll go to the View All tab and select our three top-level categories by checking the box next to each. To add them to the menu, select Add to Menu. We can amend the order by clicking on the menu item and dragging it into position. In this case, we'll rearrange the order to Destinations, Travel Tips, then Activities. To set these as mega menus and feature the posts and categories in the navigation, we'll click on the drop-down arrow for the Destinations menu option. In the drop-down, where you see Not Mega Menu, select the Destinations category option. We'll do the same thing for Travel Tips. We'll then click Save Menu. To preview what this looks like, we'll navigate to the front end of our blog, then refresh the page. When you hover over Destinations or Travel Tips, you'll see that we now have this great mega menu that showcases the subcategories on the right and the post images and metadata in a really engaging way. Let's head back to the menu section. If you want to feature the categories in a more classic way, you can list the subcategories under the parent category. For example, with the Activities category, we'll click on the dropdown and ensure the Not Mega Menu option is selected. We'll then close that, and from the Categories dropdown on the left, we'll add the subcategories that belongs to activities, which are eats and drinks, hiking, snowboarding, and surfing, by selecting them and choosing Add to Menu. For a menu item to sit underneath another menu item, you simply click and drag it across to sit underneath. We'll do this for all the activities subcategories. And before we preview that, we'll also add the About page as our last menu item by selecting it and adding it to the menu. Let's save changes. Then navigate back to the front end and refresh the page. If we hover over activities, you can see that the subcategories are now listed underneath in a more classic style. Similarly, our About page is now also included in our primary menu. Once again, pause the video and create the rest of your menu structure. You'll create other menus like your footer menu the same way. When you're happy with the structure, you can further customize the appearance of your menu via the Theme Customizer by hovering over Appearance in the Admin menu and selecting Customize. Revisit the Logo and Header Options tab. Here, you can amend the header layout and menu style to suit your design. Review the theme documentation, specifically the menu section, for more info. Once you've got your primary navigation menu working the way you want it to, we can move on to updating the sidebar for your blog. The sidebar in WordPress is referred to as a widget-enabled area and allows you to set a global sidebar that appears on all pages, posts, or archive pages where a sidebar is enabled. If we navigate to the homepage of our blog, when we refer to the sidebar, we are referring to this fixed panel over here. What's great about the Soledad theme is that you're able to apply a unique sidebar to the homepage, category or archive pages, individual posts, and static pages. This is done via the Theme Customizer. To access this, hover over Appearances in the Admin menu and select Customize. Navigate to the General Options tab and scroll down to the bottom. Here is a drop-down where you'll select the sidebar you want to display on each page type. Now, to control the content that's visible via the various sidebars, we'll exit out of the Customizer. From your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Widgets. On the left, you have all the available widgets, and on the right are the widget-enabled areas. With the Soledad theme, there are a number of widget-enabled areas. This is the main sidebar, which we'll focus on in this section. As you saw before, you can use the custom sidebar options over here to create unique sidebars and apply them to the specific areas via the Theme Customizer under the General Options tab we just explored. In the next section on updating your blog's footer, we'll look at the footer widget areas here. After this section, you'll understand how widgets work and be able to use the various other widget-enabled areas supported with this theme, if required. If you imported the demo content, there will be a number of widgets added to the various sidebars and other widget areas. If we open the homepage for our blog in a new tab, you'll see that, on the right-hand side, this is the sidebar widget area. If we go back to the widget panel, you'll see that the widgets that have been added to this area align with what's being displayed in our sidebar. To add a widget to the sidebar or any widget-enabled area, simply click on the widget on the left. Select the widget-enabled area you want to add the widget to, and select Add Widget. Once the widget has been added, you can drag it into place. Click on the widget to amend its settings. Once you've updated the widget, hit Save. To delete a widget, click on the widget. Then select Delete. Okay, so that's a crash course on widgets. There are theme-specific widgets that reference Soledad in the name as well as the standard WordPress widgets. If you want to integrate your MailChimp account, you'll just need to ensure the MailChimp for WordPress plugin is installed. If it is, you'll see the MailChimp for WP tab in the Admin menu. Navigate to this tab. To connect your MailChimp account with your blog, log into your MailChimp account, you will need to create a list that you want subscribers to be added to. On the OHKLYN post here, we've added a link to a MailChimp tutorial for WordPress that may be helpful if you're new to MailChimp and email marketing. Once you've got your list set up, navigate to your account settings under the menu in the top left. In the Extras tab, select API Keys. Then create an API key by clicking on Create a Key. Copy the API key, then navigate back to the MailChimp for WP tab in your WordPress dashboard. Where it says API key, paste in the API key you just created, then save changes. The status should then change to Connected. If you want to use something else like ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign, just add an HTML module to your sidebar, then add the embed code to an HTML widget. We recommend investing some time in going through all the widget options and settings available, removing widgets you don't want and adding the elements you want. In the theme documentation here, there's a section on widgets that explains the Soledad-specific widgets and guides you through how to get the most from them. Okay, so your blog should be starting to take shape. There's a bit of a learning curve, so try not to feel too overwhelmed. Stick with it for a few weeks and you'll be through the steepest part of the learning curve. Remember to post any questions or comments via the comments section in YouTube. We'll personally respond to every comment. Let's move on to customizing the footer of your blog. There are 3 components to managing the appearance of your footer. These are the footer menu, the footer widget areas, and your footer layout options available via the theme customizer. Let's explore all 3. First is the footer menu. Like the primary navigation we created earlier, you are able to create a footer menu in the same way. As per our original blog site map, we want to include a footer menu with links to our contact, disclosure, and privacy pages. To do this, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Menus. To create a new footer menu, we'll click on Create a New Menu. We'll give it a name of Footer Menu, then select Create Menu. Down the bottom under Menu Settings, we'll set this as our footer menu by selecting Footer Menu. Under Pages on the left, we'll select the contact, disclosure, and privacy pages we created earlier. Then, hit Add to Menu. We can arrange these if we want, then select Save Menu. If we navigate to the front of our blog, then scroll down to the footer, you'll find that it might not be there. If this is the case, then we'll need to enable it from within the customizer. Let's open up the Theme Customizer in a new tab. If we scroll the preview pane down so that we can see the footer, then navigate to the Footer Options tab. If we scroll towards the bottom, you'll see that there's an option to enable footer menu. If we check that box and give it a moment to refresh, you'll see that our footer menu has now been added. Let's scroll back up to the top of the Footer Options tab and go through the other 2 components. Depending on the demo content you imported, the layout structure of your footer will be different. However, the fundamentals will be the same. In our case, the footer is utilizing a 3-column layout, which is creating 3 widget-enabled areas where the content is being controlled via the Widgets panel we explored before. To explain what we mean, let's open up the Widgets panel in a new tab by hovering over Appearance in the Admin menu and selecting Widgets. If we click into Footer Column 1, you can see that this is where the content can be updated, changed, or deleted. Similarly, if we click into Footer Column 2, the same is true. Like we did before, you can add any widget to these widget areas or update the existing options to suit your design. If we navigate back to the Theme Customizer, in the Footer Options tab, you have the option to disable the footer widget area entirely if you'd prefer, as well as the option to change the column layout. By changing the column layout, say from 3 columns to 2 columns, you'll notice that only the first 2 widget columns are displayed. Play around with the options here to see what works for you. If you don't want the Instagram feed at the bottom, you can disable this via the Widgets panel. By opening the Footer Instagram widget area, then deleting the Instagram slider widget. Similarly, you can remove the newsletter sign-up or edit its contents via the Footer Sign-up widget area located here. Lastly, if we navigate back to the customizer and scroll to the bottom, you're able to update or remove the copyright information via the Footer Copyright Text input box. We'll delete what's there. and add Made with Love by OHKLYN. This theme supports Font Awesome, so we'll add a love heart to replace the word love by adding angle bracket I space class equals opening quotation mark FA space FA dash heart closing quotation mark closing angle bracket backslash I closing angle bracket. Obviously, customize this to whatever you like. If you want to use an icon anywhere on your blog within the documentation under the menu tab here, there's some info on how to use iTags with classes to bring in the specific icon you want to use as a font. Once you're happy with how the footer of your blog is looking, remember to publish your changes. And we can move on. Okay, so we've gone through how to create and/or update the demo content. Your blog should now be starting to come to life. Remember to revisit the theme customizer now that you've added in your content and really go through the settings until you create the exact design you want. We'll go through a couple of these things together, so let's open our theme customizer. The first thing we'll update is our featured slider by navigating to the Featured Slider Options tab. We'll scroll down and select the Featured Post category that we created earlier from the Select Featured Category dropdown as the source for our slider. Then publish our changes. Next, we'll update the homepage featured boxes that are on our homepage here. To do this, navigate to the Homepage Options tab within the customizer. Then scroll down to the Home Featured Boxes columns option. We'll change ours from 4 boxes to 3 boxes and feature our top-level blog categories of destinations, travel tips, and activities. You could feature whatever you like here. We'll make sure the Open Home Featured Boxes in New tab is unchecked, as we want the user to be taken through to the category page they click on in the same browser tab. We won't change the image, but you'll be able to do so by clicking on the Change Image option for each and uploading or selecting the image you want to use. Make sure the images are a consistent size for the best results. For the homepage featured box first text, we'll add destinations. For the URL, we'll open the homepage of our blog in a new tab. Then navigate to the Destinations category page. We'll copy the URL for this page, and then navigate back to the customizer and paste it in the homepage featured box first URL field. We'll repeat this process for the other 2 boxes. Once that's done, we'll publish our changes. We strongly encourage you to go through all the customizer settings now that you've got content added and optimize the various settings for your design. Leave any comments or questions below in the comments section on YouTube. If you have followed along, you will have customized a significant portion of your content, including creating new pages, posts, categories, menus, updating the sidebar and footer, etc. If you've done that, or once you finish doing that, you'll then need to go through and delete any of the demo content that's still remaining. To delete posts or pages, go to either the All Posts or All Pages tab. Hover over the page or post you want to delete. Then select Trash. This will move the post or page to the Trash tab, but not permanently delete it. To permanently delete content, navigate to the Trash tab. Then hover over the title and select Delete Permanently. Go through and delete any of the posts and pages that you don't want to repurpose for your blog. Next is any categories or tags that have been created that you don't want to use. We deleted our categories earlier, however, we will need to delete any tags we're not using. To do this, hover over Posts in the Admin menu and select Tags. You can either hover over the tag name and select Delete, or check the box to bulk select tags. Then, under the Bulk Actions dropdown, select Delete and click Apply. Next, we'll delete any of the comments that were imported with the content. To do this, choose Comments from the Admin menu, then select the comments you want to remove. Select Move to Trash. Once again, to permanently delete these, go to the Trash folder and permanently delete them there. Now is a good time to think about how you want to approach comments on your blog. You can disable comments on individual posts, or you can manage your global comment settings by hovering over the Settings tab in the Admin menu and selecting Discussions. For more info on the core WordPress settings, review our How to Use WordPress video or blog post, which goes through this in detail. It also covers how to add your photo and information as a blog author using Gravatar. You may also want to delete any images or media items you're not using from your media library, which you can navigate to by hovering over Media in the Admin menu and selecting Library. Lastly, review the Portfolio tab and remove any content you're not using. If you decide that you want to use a contact form on your blog for people to reach out, then you can either embed a form or leverage your favorite contact form plugin. Solid Ads supports Contact Form 7 and is what they have included on their demo contact page. Contact Form 7 uses a shortcode to embed the contact form. For those unfamiliar with Contact Form 7, we've added a link to a tutorial on the OHKLYN post for your reference. Once you've got your travel blog looking the way you want and you're ready to launch your site, there's a few good practices that you should follow to ensure you get the best results. If you want your blog to be searchable via search engines like Google, then you will need to index your blog. To learn how to do this, we've added a link to our video on the OHKLYN post here. In this video, we'll show you step-by-step how to add your blog to Google search. Similarly, if you want to monitor traffic and user behavior on your blog, then you will want to install Google Analytics. Yes, we've created a video on how to add Google Analytics to your blog as well. You can find the link on the OHKLYN post. And that wraps up our How to Start a Travel Blog tutorial using WordPress. If you like this video, hit the like button, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos related to WordPress, digital marketing, and how to run a successful site. Your feedback is appreciated, so please leave a comment below and tell us what you liked, or if there was anything you found difficult, so that we can put together additional videos to help support you as you build out your site. To get access to exclusive discounts, free tutorials, and to stay in the loop on the latest updates, sign up to our newsletter at OHKLYN, OHKLYN.com. And until next time, happy building!